everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the AGT podcast. That is Adamo GamingTalks. And on this first episode today, I've got with me the CEO and the boss man, and the reason we're all here today. It's Tom.
Hello, hiya, all right?
Tom is here to help hopefully start this podcast and get its approval so we can produce one of these every single week and talk about gaming on all fronts in forms of entertainment. And just have a laugh with some different guests, maybe some external guests, but also to help people to know the people working within Adamo. So, Tom, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is probably just introduce yourself to everyone so that they get to know kind of who's talking and what Adamo Gaming kind of is.
Yeah, cheers, Antony. Okay, well, firstly, let me just say how amazing it is we're getting our first podcast done. I'm absolutely stoked that we've got you in such a short time, to be fair. So my name is Tom Roderick. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Adamo Gaming. So I'm fortunate that I work with quite a great bunch of innovators, really. That really some of them have a passion for gaming, some of them just have a passion for business and people development. So I'm quite fortunate that I've been able to do that in my career. Started off a very long time ago as a show cave guide back in Danarogov, so I used to dress as a bear. I've run numerous businesses since with varying degrees of success. Gaming was just something that, my children are very keen into it. So I've got two lads. I've got a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, two sons who are massive gamers. I think they spend their life gaming. So it's become a kind of an occupational hazard, really.
So, did you say you had to dress up as a bear?
Yeah, I did.
Firstly, before we go any further, I need to know what that even means. Is that a euphemism, or do you actually mean you dressed up as a bear?
No, it wasn't some sort of fetish activity. No, basically, where I grew up in the Swansea Valley. So I'm Welsh. If you can't pick my accent up, it's quite anglicised, but I'm a Valley boy.
I had to live in Wales for a bit.
Yeah. So I grew up in a place called Ystrad, which is easier said than it is spelt. My first ever job was there's a big show cave complex there called Danarogov, and my first ever job when I was 16 was I had to dress up as in this big bear costume like they have in Disney.
Excellent.
And basically welcome all kids and school trips and stuff coming to the caves, which was it was shocking. It was terrible. They were rowdy. They used to pull the costume, kick me in the shins. I got punched in the nuts a few times. And while trying to wear this massive, heavy costume in the sunshine, so it was kind of like a mobile sauna. I was a very unhappy bear.
Did you ever try and scare like the naughty kids and just be like, "Go away"?
I was a grizzly bear. If the teachers hadn't been there, I'm sure I'd have punched one of them. I wouldn't have, but it was tempting.
Yeah, I always remember going to kids' parties and always having that kid scared of the bear, and I'd be like, I'm sure that bear's jumped out at them.
That would have been me.
Yeah, I bet.
That would have been me. So that was my first. It was a good experience, actually. One of the things you learn and stuff like that is you're part of a big team. Yeah. So whilst I look back at it, and I do it kind of through through a kind of a different type of set of eyes as you're older, I recognised, looking back, how important it was in terms of giving me quite a rounded skill set, really.
Definitely, and you got to dress as a bear. There's not a lot of jobs you can do that for. Yeah, exactly. So okay, well, the next big thing that I'm kind of the most interested in, because I've been in this job now for a couple of weeks, and I'm buzzing more than anyone to get a podcast sorted. It's kind of been a bit of a dream for me. Where do you see Adamo Gaming / what do you want to be like the long-term goal for this? Because this is obviously a really exciting journey for everyone, and hopefully we can garner quite a following. But where do you see this heading if all was to go well?
Well, for me, I wanted to create the biggest casual gaming community in the UK. I want to have a sense of belonging. So for where does Adamo end up? I don't know, if I'm being honest. In 2 weeks, we've achieved so much already. Even just this podcast is just amazing. So to have achieved the things that we've done already with what has been quite a small group of talented people, I'm pretty excited about how far we can go.
Oh, definitely. Some of the talent is excellent.
Yeah, I want to reach out to all of those guys, in their in their bedrooms, all those people out there that are gamers. That's one, week on week we talk to lots of people who want to come and work for our business, and they just don't know where to start. They're passionate about gaming, they love what they do, but it's just not an easy industry to
No,
get
not at
into.
all. I remember reaching out via Twitter to people like IGN writers and stuff and being like, "Hey, how do I get a job working for IGN?" And they were just like, they don't really know. It just kind of things like that kind of fall into place for certain people, and you kind of it's all about who you know, isn't it? So hopefully with a thing like Adamo, if a community can be built, then we can provide. Like as I've seen since I've joined, there's been 20 plus people joined. It's only been 2 weeks. For being able to provide opportunities to people that wouldn't know where to go otherwise. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. I think one of the most humbling and exciting piece of it all has been the sheer amount of talented people that are sitting there. They're good at
All
gaming.
unemployed.
Yeah, madness, absolute madness. What a waste! What a waste of talent. So we're very fortunate, if I'm being honest, that we've been able to access these people and get them on
Oh
board.
yeah.
What's bigger for me is people who are passionate about it as well. People who really care about it.
Oh, it is driven, and it's driven by the people loving gaming and loving the world of games. You can clearly tell. Like when I even the people that aren't necessarily playing for like the team that we're trying to form, like people like the graphics team, they just know what they want. People will like to see / what they would have liked to have seen if they were asked. They're providing for an audience that they once were.
Absolutely. I think, and one of the follow-ons from that is Adamo Gaming will have a fully professional esports team.
Yeah.
So that our casual audience will be catered for, but we'll also have a fully professional esports team competing in across various games. So we won't be like many of the current esports teams where you have a specialist type game that you will focus on. We're going to be more like decathletes,
Yeah.
where we'll have multiple games and we'll go out and I'll invite people who are listening to this, come and be our competitors, come and have a go against us, because we'll have open challenges, we'll run competitions with prizes. We're gonna. Our aim is to shake the market up. We want to be disruptors.
Yeah, definitely. I think starting from nothing helps you decide or makes you choose. You can be as big as you want and cover as much as you want. It isn't like we've joined into a company that is set and has set codes of conduct. We can go where we want with this right now. We define our own rules almost, and I kind of like that.
It's quite a strange situation. It's like meeting 26 people in a bar, sitting around a table, and coming up with a business idea.
Brilliant.
That's essentially what's happened.
Yeah.
Is this hasn't been traditional organizational design, which is what I love about it. Is I've worked in big corporates. I've worked for the Royal Bank of Scotland. I've worked for Vodafone. I've worked for Telewest Broadband when they were around. So I've worked for BT. I've worked for massive global corporations, really. And they're structured, they're rigid, even though telecoms by its nature has to be fairly fluid. But I think the new world of work is very collaborative.
Definitely.
What we're doing right now in Adamo is absolutely innovative. But it's the new way of working. This is how businesses will form in the future.
So the big thing I've got to ask, and this is because I've been here. Well, obviously I was one of the first ones to join as like the first intake of people. Is there anything you'd wish you'd probably done differently before you started that could have maybe helped like keep things settled from the get-go? Because it's been very hectic these past 2 weeks in an exciting way, but it's been crazy.
Yeah, I think you guys just arrived, didn't you? So if I could go back in time, we probably would have structured that a bit better. But it was like on the Thursday we thought, right, can we push play on the recruitment process? And Mark Brown, who's in charge of our recruitment process, he just like turned up with 7 people, and it was like they're arriving on the Monday. We don't really know how this is going to work. So I probably would have, we probably put a bit more elbow grease into that front end. But to be fair to you guys who arrived as the originals, if you want, to the original guys, you picked up the mantle and you said, right, we'll sort this out for you. Don't worry, guys, we'll sort this out. And the credit to yourself, to Antony, to Jess, to Patty, to Salah, to Jaden. The guys made a massive impact.
No, I obviously massively appreciate that, because you give us, like, you just give us the free reins, and I think, to be honest, in this situation, we needed you to do that, because obviously you aren't all necessarily from a gaming background or understand necessarily the demographic that maybe other people would have been liking to hit. So being given the freedom to kind of say, right, this is where we want to go, and it's even for myself, I've grown so much probably in the past few weeks, just having to take a bit of charge. Because probably, if you wouldn't know this, but prior to this, I wouldn't say I was a very good leader. And then,
well, I'm surprised.
Yeah, and then
I'm very surprised at that.
And I've just kind of tried to do what I can. But it's so much fun to be able to hop on and do something you at least enjoy doing, even if it all might collapse. You enjoy putting stuff into it, and I think everyone is so driven to make this work that within a year, you'll be able to see the amount of progress made, even if it doesn't maybe hit the heights we want from the get-go. It'll be somewhere.
100%. I think one of the things that holds us all back as individuals, and sorry, I said Jaden, I meant Janus, so my apologies for that. But one of the things that holds us all back as individuals is the fear of failure. So I've had some massive setbacks in my life, some real things which I could have let go on top of me and could have defined me as a human. But I didn't. Yeah. I kind of thought, right, don't look down. You're on the tightrope. If you look down, you'll fall off. So just stay up there. Just keep working. Just keep trying to do the best you can, and you will succeed. And whether it's socialization, or whether it's just low self-esteem, or whether there's a reason for the way that you are, everyone can achieve outstanding success. Success is indiscriminate. It's only how we let ourselves be talked out of things by others that we don't really shoot for the stars. So my hope is that with the team that we've got now, and we're growing at 15 to 20 people a week. So within 10 short weeks, we're going to have over 100 employees working in our organization. I want 100 superstars. I want 120 superstars, because they believe in themselves. So what we've got so far is a great blueprint, but I think we can go further.
Yeah, definitely. I think that with the amount of people that we're able to get in, we're able to kind of branch out in a way that maybe other people can't, because they have to be constantly winning, say, tournaments to remain sustainable. Whereas this way, if we can keep doing things, we can find a way to be sustainable, like through hopefully the website, which will be up in the next few weeks, to get reviews and articles and somewhat informal blog posts on, and just get a community that we can interact with. I think that's our main goal really at the minute, isn't it? Just to have a community.
Definitely. Build a massive fan base. Build some good people there. People that hopefully will be listening to this and want to follow us on our journey, because we've only just started. And, we are going to be the UK's first Esports Academy. We already are. So I look at what's out there, and everything's all about the elite gamers. We're not. We're about people who will be listening to this, sitting in their bedrooms, sitting in their houses, and thinking, actually, I need to get in touch with these guys because I need to find out how to be involved. Yeah. And that's whether commercial partners or gamers or just people there who want to get into the gaming sector, get in touch with us because we can help.
Yeah, when you mention the academy, it almost somewhat reminds me of the Asian music industry. A lot of those places have almost schools for bands, and they just put groups together and kind of give them like a genre that you've got to succeed in, and they kind of just try and mesh that with obviously people who know what they're doing. And I just think that an esports academy helps us almost become like not a manufacturer like a machine, but a supplier to maybe the bigger teams that people watch growing up and stuff. And this is like a gateway almost. If we can become that, it'd be great, because obviously we can only have so many players for our specific team, but there's nothing to stop us providing players into the competitive scene. There's so many games out there that always need new players and tournament players.
And that would be a success for
Massively.
us. To buy a place at the table at the tier 1 events with a team costs $10 million to buy a seat at that table. So that already is an elitist market. So we recognise that for us to get to that top table, it's going to be a 4 or 5 year journey before our top talent are good enough to play in the Premiership, in effect. So we've got to work with those people to grow our own. We can't go out there and hire these big guns because they're costing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just to have on your roster.
Yeah.
That don't work for us. We've got to build people up, and we have got to create those $100,000 a year earners, but they've got to come from within.
From the get-go, I knew this would be different, because if you were only wanting to be an esports team, you would have gone out, you'd have got your funding, and you'd have probably bought a low-end esports team and worked with them and slowly started replacing players and keep going until it was like a recycled team. But I think because it's from the ground up, it just makes such a big difference to the way we approach things. And I obviously want to get off this sort of interrogation so we can have a little bit of a chat about what you do for gaming and what you've ever done for gaming, because I'm intrigued to hear about the old ways and what you've played. But my last real question really that I've got is just kind of what has been I guess the most eye-opening thing since starting this for you?
Mine has been the sheer talent of people we've had coming through, and it's variable in terms of experience and know-how, but my goodness, we've had some absolute stars come on board, and it has literally blown my brain. I keep telling the team, the team that I work with, that support the business, is saying you need to get on these calls, you need to listen to these people, you need to get on Discord and find the discussion levels, because these are outstanding people, and all we have to do is give these people the wings to fly. So, but also how big the whole gaming market is, the gaming industry. It's until I started researching it, I actually didn't have any idea at all about the depth, the and it's relatively new still. Esports was only a thing in 2016, so it's 5 years. Can you imagine any sport that was 5 years old? It's just insane.
It's crazy
it's already
how huge it is. Like, I remember a few years back when ESPN started first picking it up in America, and it caused a huge outcry of people debating whether it's a sport or not. But when you've got broadcasters like, say, ESPN, which are probably the biggest worldwide sports broadcaster at the time, at least, it just shows how big it's growing and how quickly.
Oh, absolutely. The market currently is at $1.6 billion globally, dollars, which is massive, and it's forecasted to double in the next 2 years.
And people don't seem to realize there are things like that, household names for things now. So Fortnite and Minecraft are household names, but even back in 1999, I might be incorrect, but I'm sure I'm correct. The Pokemon games came before the Pokemon anime, and not a lot of people realize that.
100%
and
it
that's
did.
Insane.
Yeah, it's the market globally as just short of gaming, as a recreational pastime, has exploded beyond recognition, and I think that's driven by obviously the increase in performance of consoles and better performance there, but also I think games are capturing individuals in different
massively.
ways.
I don't
really.
know if you've ever heard of or seen Shirley Curry, but she's basically known as the gaming grandma, and she's just this sweet old woman in America who plays Skyrim every day and just tweets about it, and she has a huge following as the grandma of the internet, and it's just incredible.
I used to get absorbed for hours and hours, certainly in my formative. Since I had children, it becomes a bit more difficult because dad duties and my other, outside of work interests have. But I remember when I was in my teens and certainly in my 20s being absolutely absorbed by gaming. It'd be nothing for me to be up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and having to kind of keep everything quiet so I didn't wake my parents up. And that was certainly a long time before the online gaming platforms where I interacted. That was just me versus the machine. Yes. So I can imagine with all the human interaction, different time zones. I've heard my lads in conversation with people over in the States.
Yeah. There are huge things. Obviously there's things like, I don't know if you even know, but obviously Grand Theft Auto is a big game. But Grand Theft Auto RP is a thing on the computer that is taken live streaming by storm now for the past year and a half. And it's basically, you pay to go onto these servers and you play your character. You have to be the character you've made. You aren't allowed to break character. You aren't allowed to pretend to be someone else. You have to be your character and live in that world. It's crazy, and it's crazy fun to watch.
I bet. I know my eldest lad's a big GTA fan, And I know him and his friends from school, you know, they get on, and I can hear them all chatting and stuff, and they're stitching people up, and they're working collaboratively to get to people. And they're all in a, you know, so they seem to be having a great time doing that, but it's absorbing. He can be there. He thinks that 4 to 5 hours is a small sesh.
Yeah.
You know, you can stay on till 1, Park. So he's 15, like, you can stay on till 1. Firstly, he's absolutely devastated that it's that I've asked him to get off at 1. He thinks it's too early at 15. And secondly, he's like, Dad, but I've only got 5 hours. I'm like, 5 hours?
No.
Certainly, you know, when I think back to the type of games that I was like, when the original John Madden came out and stuff like that were my kind of the games that I would have played on. Some of the original FIFAs where the graphics were really poor, but it was still addictive, you know, it still sucked you in.
Yeah.
Football Manager I played.
Don't worry, we will have a Football Manager episode. Don't you worry. I will be talking because I love Football Manager. I'm a big football fan.
I got a confession, right? So when I was working for RBS, and I was a senior manager for RBS, so I had offices in Manchester, Southend, and in Edinburgh. But the agreement I had with the bank was, because I was travelling between those 3 sites, is on a Friday I could work from home, and my kids were little. But for some reason, I got hooked on Football Manager. So I'm sitting on these calls with the bank, right? Conference calls. I shouldn't really be saying this now, but I'm long gone from it, so they can't sack me. Sitting on really high-level projects where they'd all be talking about, you know, the plans and stuff for what was happening with the bank, and big projects and big cards getting launched. And I was literally fighting my way up the leagues on Football Manager.
Well, Callum, who hopefully will be joining us down like in a week or so, me and him play Football Manager on the regular. We play against each other, and we would love to set up an in-house and eventually like external, just Football Manager, fun, streamable fantasy draft tournament where you get the game, you pick your 11, and you just go against each other in a 1v1 tournament, and then whoever wins the tournament.
Well, you can count me in that. That's one of the games I have got a little bit of expertise in.
Excellent, because me and Callum get absolutely lost in that. It's so funny.
Before the AGT podcast continues, we'd just like to take a second to acknowledge and appreciate the sponsors for today's podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Apparel 5. AP5 are at the cutting edge of teamwear and apparel design, helping so many teams look fantastic. So go ahead and give them a visit at www.apparel5.com for your team's merchandising needs. A huge thank you also to the Strive Group. Helping form inclusive workplaces utilizing education to create effective change, Strive offer a range of training programs, audits, assessments, and consultation services to ensure that your organization is seen as an employer of choice within your sector. The apprenticeship training agency is launching on April 1st. To find out more, visit www.strive2work.uk. And now, back to the podcast.
That was my first, probably, it wasn't my first addiction. I had Mario Karts were addiction. You know, we were fortunate when we were growing up, is we had a couple of different games consoles. We had the original Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive. So they were all the Mario games and stuff. We were big fans of those. And more recently, the one that I got into was Minecraft.
Oh yes.
I got properly sucked into it. So my 2 kids were playing it, and they were ignoring me. So I thought, right, if I can't beat them, join them. So I started to get involved in it. It looked, when I first looked, I was having flashbacks back to the 80s, like, or the 90s. Yeah, the graphics were crud. I was like, this is absolutely shocking. But actually, the whole gameplay was really addictive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I couldn't get off it. So we used to build like, and we always had to do it in adventure mode. Because I liked, I had to get into, I had to have all the fighting and stuff. Like, just, that was my thing. Yeah. So they never had, I don't know what the other mode was, where you just kind of can't get killed.
Oh, creative. Yeah.
Creative, that's it. But I like the adventure, but I like the thrill of, you have to...
Well, we have, funnily enough, today, me and Nathan are setting up a Minecraft server for us all to hop on whenever we're bored.
Ah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Again, that's a game I've got a
Yeah,
level of
nice.
expertise
Well,
in.
see, you probably have more than me because I haven't played Minecraft in 6 years. I remember when it first came out and I played it, and then I kind of got lost on it. Like you say, I got sucked in and I was like, no, I need to stop, and then I just never got back into it.
My kids have had a resurgence. Even when we went on holiday once, we managed to get a server linked up to the iPads on my phone. So I was playing it on my phone, and my kids were playing on their iPads via a 3G
Brilliant.
dongle.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so weird that you said that. Me and Nathan were literally talking about that earlier, and we're just saying how, yeah, we all need to just have a server we can all jump on and like kind of zone out and mess around on.
sweet. Well, again, deal me in on that one. I won't be able to play Valeriant and the other stuff. COD and all that.
No, the Valorant and the comp teams, it's not for me. COD I can play, but not to the level that they all probably can. I definitely like, because we were speaking the other day, and you mentioned Shogun 2 Total War, and that is Total War was the reason I did my university degree, well, my college A levels and then my university degree, and I literally got to mention the Total War games in my dissertation, and I realized I have to get a job in gaming. Like, I did like a 15,000 word dissertation on Chinese history in video games, and I was like, oh my god.
I like that. I like that. But no, to be fair to the original, when it first came out, Total War, I remember seeing the trailers and stuff for it and watching it and thinking this game is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's everything that I like. So I'm fascinated by that period in history anyway. The whole kind of, that whole Oriental kind of histrionics. Really, really excited by that. Then, things like sort of strategy games and, being able to warfare and things like that were right up my street. So I quickly developed, quite a. Again, that was a game where I managed to squeeze some spare time when the kids were in bed and the wife was off watching her stuff.
Yeah.
So I would jump on and start to. I took it quite seriously,
Yeah. I remember the online scene on Shogun was huge. People were always looking to play online on that.
Great games, and all the the new additions that came out then, all the expansion packs were just really interesting. Even though I did stay true to the original. But the expansion packs were really, really good too.
What was it? Fall of the Samurai and Rise of the Samurai. And they were just like, one of them had all the muskets in, and everyone went online and just shot up all of your horses if you didn't have it. That was all that happened to me constantly. I was like, I'm giving up. I don't have the guns.
Rome Total War was good too.
Tom, don't, because we'll turn this into a Total War cast, and that just needs to be done another time, because a Total War session again.
I feel like I'm on safe ground here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I found out that you played more than I thought you did.
Oh, it's amazing when you're forced to recall.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be like a gaming Neanderthal.
No, Total War is a big at the minute because of the Warhammer games, and they just did a Three Kingdoms game. There's quite a resurgence in older franchises kind of coming back. Obviously, Pokemon remakes have just been announced, and they've got a mixed response. The Total, go on.
Huge fan of Warhammer.
Yeah.
So I never played it online. When I was in university and in school, I was quite into sort of Dungeons and Dragons and all of that type of stuff. So role playing games and things. So I always had an interest in Warhammer as that came out, and the character development, etc. So I've never played it online. I think I should.
Well, Total War, Total War released a Warhammer game. They're on Total War Warhammer 2 now.
Serious?
Yeah.
That would be enough for me to literally go out and buy it.
Honestly, yeah, Total War Warhammer 2, they're still making DLC for and everything. If that was to get you into it again, I advise you definitely play that. People love that game.
On it, sold.
Yeah, excellent. I'm glad. Creative Assembly need to sign me up as a sponsor me, please.
Hey, they do some great stuff, mind. They've done some pretty great stuff.
So well, it's been good to actually finally find out that you play games. We'll definitely have to arrange some sessions, because the next big thing I want to be doing with, this is more an exclusive for the team of people that I'm leading, is we've got a Jackbox night set up, which is just, we'll get you in on that, and you'll experience why that is the big thing I'm trying to push at the minute, because that is just a right laugh. And some of talk about breaking the ice, that is how you break the ice, doing a Jackbox night.
Just for my benefit and anyone that's listening home, what is a Jackbox night?
So Jackbox party packs are like these four. You get a few of them. I've got a bunch of them, so this is how we can do it. But they're like little mini games that one person has to play, and then I'll share my screen, say on Discord, and the rest of you just have to have a phone and be able to see the screen, and it'll be different things will come up, like maybe prompts to a question, and you have to fill in the blank, and then people vote on the funniest prompt answer, or guess which is a lie and guess which is a truth. Just absolutely genius games that are accessible to absolutely everyone.
Brilliant. Well, that sounds like a big cracking. Yeah, a good laugh.
On out of work hours, that is one of the best drinking games ever.
Oh, I don't need any help with that side of things. I'm pretty safe.
But on a Friday night or a Saturday, after watching the football or the rugby, just playing a bit of Jackbox with a drink is great.
Is it? No, okay. No, I'd be up for that. Definitely.
I will. We can definitely sort that out as well. I was saying to the team today, that is instead of this whole what's your name, where you're from, that's just how you break the ice. That's where's your humour at? What do you think? What's the first thing to jump to mind when you see this on your screen?
Brilliant. And if you don't mind, Antony, because obviously this is the first podcast, so I know a lot of people listen to this aren't going to even know you, to be fair. So I've done quite a lot of talking. Just tell the people at home a little bit about you. How did you get involved with that, Adamo?
I'm 21. I've just recently graduated from university, and I was given this opportunity to work for Adamo because I've just graduated and was unemployed. I graduated with a 2-1 degree in ancient civilizations. I can speak like a level 1 in Mandarin. And I've been gaming all my life. I had 2 older brothers who are quite a bit older, so even though I'm only 21, my first console was a Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog was my first ever game, and kind of from then I was a recluse growing up, and then I became more and more social, but kept this nerd side of me hidden away from everyone. And then I just loved talking and discussing games, and the reason I played competitive Smite for a little bit back in season 2. But the reason I couldn't get into competitive games anymore was there's too many games out there for me to focus on and play, and I can't be the best at one game because there's too much out there I want to be playing instead.
It's interesting because when we talk to people coming on board, and certainly the serious top end gamers and stuff, I'm not saying you're not, by the way, is one of the things that keeps emerging is actually they like they like a number of games. Yeah. They and I would imagine that as you get competitive, you get very serious. And I wonder how much of the enjoyment that takes out of the game, how much fun you lose because it's all about winning.
Yeah, it really depends on what you might. So I'm like I said, I'm someone who's into football. I play a lot of football. So when it comes to playing football, I'm in that mindset of I want to win. I will win. In terms of gaming was always kind of my takeaway was kind of I enjoy things because I'm gaming. And when I realised I was playing comp with my friends and stuff on, say, Smite, you have to focus on that one game. You have to learn the updates. So a big thing is, if they reduce the cooldown of one item by half a second, you have to know that because it changes the entire game, believe it or not. It's like saying, in rugby or something where they change the rules of the clock where now the clock ticks on when the ball's gone out of play. It would change how people play rugby because every tactic would change, wasting time. These items that now have half a second longer cooldown, people are like, they're not viable. You need to get something that has that less half a second. It's just crazy the analysis that goes into it. And I was like, I enjoy this side of it, but it really takes away from what else I could be enjoying.
Yeah, I get that. I've seen my lad, my eldest lad.
I love gaming too much, and I love gaming with my friends, and I don't like falling out with them over a game. That was my big one.
Well, my eldest, I've seen my eldest, physically get upset about a game.
Yeah.
Where he's he's actually crying because of something that's happened on a game. It's not that serious. And certainly my youngest often falls out with his mates. He boots them out of games or kicks them, I think it's called. Yeah. He won't talk to them for days.
It's very easy to do when you're trying to be serious because it's like almost when you realize you want to play competitive, it's like playing a sport, like playing football, and you're playing right back and your centre back is literally he's not playing, he's looking off the pitch and smoking. It's like just losing a player almost, and it is nothing more frustrating.
No, I've got one of my younger brothers. I'm one of 5. So I've got four brothers and a sister. And one of my younger brothers, he's massively. He was playing Rocket League the other day. He's only a year younger than me, and he was part of a team. And he said, there was 3 of us. He said one of the guys was absolutely brilliant, and he said obviously he was brilliant, but this third guy was absolutely pants.
That's how it works.
And he said we got through the semi-final or quarter-finals and we got tanked. He said because basically the pants, we had 2 good players and a pants player, and they just happened to have 3 good players, and we couldn't carry him. We carried him through 3 or 4 rounds, but we got found out.
Yeah, that's it. When you play against teams that take it seriously, they will notice weaknesses so quickly. And because it's not like a sport where you have the manager say on the side and you have to wait till halfway through the game to have your team talk, these communications are going on from the leaders during the game, so they pick up on stuff instantly, and they start being like, this is what we need to exploit.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm excited to get to know more about the industry actually, and because I see these psychological and the kind of wider impact that it has. Certainly, when we think of where we are now, in terms of what's going on around us environmentally and society, and with society. I know that gaming for the last 12 months has saved my children's mental health. I know that for a fact. If it wasn't for their access through gaming consoles to their friends and for them to establish some form of normality, then I think life would have been incredibly tough for them. So, as a dad, it's radically changed my view of the positive impact that being involved in the gaming community can have.
Yeah, well, I remember when Let's Plays on YouTube became a big thing, and the one thing I was always asked by my parents was, why do you sit there and watch him play that game? And I never had a response really, because I didn't really know. And then I realised I can ask you the same question about why do you sit there and watch people play football. It's because the people play it either to a better standard of you, they're better, or it's just entertainment. Like that's the simple reason for it. They're a top tier standard of a game you play and understand, and you wanna see people play it at the level that it can be played at.
Absolutely. When I watch some stuff on Twitch. I've been doing it since, and I got to confess, I've only been doing it since we've been involved with Adamo. But I've been watching people, and I just realised just how good some of these people are, how they see things that I didn't even see, and how quick they are around, say, on COD, changing weapons, picking things up, moving into different positions really quickly, communicating with others so they're organised and coordinated.
Yeah, so my biggest thing in games is always either the soundtrack or the movement. If a game moves well, I'll like it, and if a game has a great music score, I'm in love with it. So I'm currently in love with Persona at the minute because the music in that game is just bliss. It's just the best.
But it's interesting because when you look at things like FIFA and all the various editions of FIFA that come out, FIFA's got the ability to make bands. Yeah. There are people who's been able to get their tracks onto the soundtrack for FIFA who were nobodies before then.
And that's because you mix them in with, if they're the same type, so you mix them in. Because I remember growing up and playing FIFA games, and you had Keane and Sam Sparrow and Kasabian and Oasis, and even now, about 5 years ago, I think it was, Kasabian made a song just for FIFA, and that alone should show how big gaming is.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that so you're right in terms of the soundtrack, etc. Because the kind of the vibe, the sound that's with the actual game helps generate those kind of endorphins. Really helps you feel good about the game, not just the actual use and feel. So I think they recognise it's quite a holistic experience.
It's always interesting whenever you go to a party or you have control of the speaker, say, especially my generation, and you put a song on, so Kids MGMT or Jerk It Out by the Caesars, and the amount of people that will first thing they'll go is, that's a FIFA song. That's how they know these songs is FIFA songs, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I get it 100%. So just to be slightly controversial here, Antony, which games, in your opinion, are overrated at the moment, or overhyped, and why?
So my bad take, and I actually spoke about this today with the team. My bad take is, I really don't understand the love behind Skyrim.
Go on. Why?
Because I play it and I think, oh, this is really good. I get Game of Thrones vibes. The environment's really good. And then after 20 minutes, I realise there's just games that do certain... It does a variety of things well, but I don't think it's the best at doing one thing. So
you're gonna get hate on you for
Skyrim
Legend Skyrim. You're gonna have all the Skyrim advocates pouring in now, absolutely crying.
That's okay, because I've had to do this for a long time. My best friend is a big Skyrim advocate. I like Skyrim. I think it's good, but I've never been able to play it for more than 2 hours and go, God, I can't wait to play Skyrim again tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pleased with that. I needed to, because I know that people are obviously, games are like football clubs, aren't they? People feel massively passionate about their game. So as soon as anyone disses it, like you're on
as
the
a United
hate
fan,
set.
yeah, I've had to deal with that a lot. So I'm allowed to throw.
That's mad. You're from Manchester as well, and you support Manchester United. I know it's a joke.
That's it.
That's it. I heard the most Reds are from London.
Yeah.
And Birmingham.
Let's not even get into that one.
Actually, interestingly enough, my family back home are all Manchester United supporters. So my mother is, my uncle's a massive Manchester United supporter. He used to travel up on the bus with Ryan Giggs' grandfather.
Oh, excellent.
To watch the Reds. So yeah, I'm not a football man. If I had to support anyone, it'd be the Swans. But they're obviously in the Championship.
Yeah.
They're good run in the Premiership for a while, but Swansea.
Yeah.
But
I
watch anyway. To be fair, now I'm quite neutral.
I went to uni down in Lampeter in Wales.
Is that where you did your degree? Fair play. I didn't know that. Oh wow, what a lovely location.
It was lovely. The place is lovely. The university, I would know. No, thank you. It's just too small to be a university town. It's just too small.
Yeah, it is. It's like having a university town in, I don't know, like. I can't think of anywhere
smaller compared to Lampeter, to be honest with you. It's lovely, but it's
tiny.
It's not somewhere. If I got asked to do 3 years there again, it would be a swift no.
Yeah, I understand you. I can't imagine there are too many hedonistic lights.
Gaming saved me there, to be honest with you. Gaming absolutely saved me. If Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't come out, I don't know what I'd have done for my second year of university.
Oh, fair play. My lad's got that one as well, Red Redemption.
Excellent game. Well, Tom, it's actually been lovely to have you for this first one. I think it's been about actually 45 minutes. It's kind of flown by. We definitely want to get you on as a guest after we've had some sessions for you to talk about the games you've played. We'll get your experiences with stuff like Jackbox, and you can just talk about that next time. And then hopefully these podcasts will become a weekly thing where it should be 3 people maximum, and then with a co-host and then a rotating guest. But yeah, it's been great to have you on. It's actually been great to talk to you and find out that you've actually got a lot of games that we play in common.
No, but thank you so much for having me, and good luck with the rest of the podcast and stuff. I hope they all go really well.
You'll be on to see how it goes, obviously, and well, this might not even got published if it doesn't get your approval. So if you're listening to this, it got Tom's approval.
It did. It certainly did.
Right, perfect. Thank you very much, and catch everyone next week.
Cheers.